Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Banshee here,
and Oberon.
and welcome to this special edition video that is promoting our upcoming Tarot for Today Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee live stream. And we have a special situation to handle today. Do 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 do. Yes, it's that happy time again when Mercury is retrograde. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Mercury is retrograde again. Okay, I promise that's all the singing I'm ever going to do on this page. Okay, maybe not. Okay, Oberon, perhaps you'd like to talk a little bit about Mercury retrograde?
Well, for those who don't know, and apparently I run into more and more of them all the time, Mercury retrograde is a phenomena that happens, astrologically speaking, about 3 times a year. And what it is, it involves the planet Mercury having the appearance of going retrograde, i.e. backwards, from its normal positioning or normal rotation. What this is it's an aspect of how we view it astronomically, astrologically from the Earth, because all the planets move in ellipse patterns around the sun. So at some point, our perspective is sort of forced to see that as a retrograde motion. Astrologers believe that retrograde motion of Mercury, as well as other planets, cause inverse or unexpected effects that may affect a number of people or affect them due to the particular planet's significance.
So what does this mean for our viewing audience? And how long is this going to last, roughly?
Well, Mercury retrogrades, that actual duration is about 3 weeks. But what happens is there is a 2-week ellipse period or shadow period before, and a 2-week ellipse or shadow period after, where some of the issues that you may be dealing with or coming into focus for you will present themselves, and then the 2 weeks afterwards are more when you may actually resolve those, either within your mental context or as they actually work out in your life. And this is why it happens 3 times a year, though, is because Mercury is the fastest moving planet in our solar system. It only takes about 90 days to move around the sun, as opposed to Earth taking 364 or 5 days. That's why it happens so often.
And what kind of troubles does it cause for us?
Well, Mercury, just like the god Mercury, is a spirit or the essence.
I was trying not to show his private parts.
Whoops. Well, this is a tasteful and artistic show, so sometimes those things do happen.
Oh, dear.
But at any rate, Mercury rules communications. It rules electronic communications in particular. It has things to do with electrical systems. So typically when the Mercury effect happens, it may interfere in how communication, electronic communications, or electrical systems function. Basically, since electricity is probably the most realized component of communication, i.e. systems communicating with each other or parts of systems communicating with each other, this can really make some things haywire. So if you've ever thought, man, I just phoned somebody 5 times and they just don't seem to be getting my message, they're not answering me, or that kind of thing, or you're waiting for a particular communication and you seem to have missed it, or it's just delayed. Those are all hallmarks of what Mercury retrograde could be.
Or in my case, why is that darn system at work running so slowly? Computers are affected,
glitches,
as well as
basically.
Communications. Is it a good time to sign documents?
Some people say it is not. Many astrologers say it is not, although some astrologers caveat that and say that each particular Mercury retrograde, as it's going through the year, it may occur in a different sign. So, for example, the one that's occurring today, that's occurring in the sign of Cancer. And so that means that inverse relationship or communication mishaps may have importance for things that fall under the realm of Cancer, which could be the home life, things to do with your parents or your mother in particular, or emotional matters, things that are emotional to some degree, maybe some sensual matters too, but not specifically as maybe another sign.
Okay. So in general, though, Mercury retrogrades are not a good time to sign documents, depending, of course, on what sign it is retrograde in. The other thing is that, what about health matters, surgery, doctors, things like that?
Well, if you think about it, Mercury affects the mentality, affects communicative things, but it's also about the mentality. Mercury rules things about your brain. Your brain has to communicate with other parts of your brain to do certain functions. So a surgeon themselves, they may have those skills, but their brain has to send the fires or the synapses firing at the right time in order to operate the scalpel or the machinery technology efficiently. So is this saying that maybe you're not on your game if you're a surgeon and you're operating during Mercury retrograde? It is a possibility. People probably have surgeries or various medical procedures done all the time during Mercury retrograde. To some degree, there has been a little bit of statistical analysis on that. I'm not going to talk about that here. I don't really know enough about to talk about it, but I'm pretty sure that some people feel it is not necessarily favored to do that, and that the general advice is if you can put off the surgery till the retrograde is over, you should possibly consider doing that.
Well, with all that in mind, we thought we would do something special for our viewing. Up, cat alert!
Besides having the Mercury cat walk through.
That's our cat Sunny, one of 3 that you will see on occasion during our live streams.
Or the tail.
Or the tail, or the back end. We can't predict. Oh dear, here he comes. Aww,
say something
isn't he
to
adorable?
Our audience. Say meow.
Sunny
Say
is
meow.
telling you not to be afraid of the retrograde. It's okay, we will survive this. Sunny is also very fascinated with being on camera. All right, Sunman, let's go. All right, so at any rate, we thought we would do something very special for you today and give you a Mercury retrograde reading to help you prepare for this time ahead. Just as a special thing to promote our live stream, which is going to be happening on August 4th. More details will be announced soon.
And Mercury will no longer be retrograde by
at that
then.
point.
That means our transmission first broadcast should have no problems.
One would almost think we planned it that way.
We're not that good.
But we didn't. Okay. So at any rate, we're both going to shuffle the cards, and we're going to do my preferred group reading today. Oberon has one he will share in the future as well. But this one is going to show maybe how the Mercury retrograde might affect 4 areas or aspects of your life in this retrograde ahead.
And we are using the standard Rider-Waite deck. We tend to want to use that one because from the copyright perspective, it's the most available to us, although that may change in the future. If you are a designer of a deck or somebody who has rights to a deck and you're interested in seeing your deck featured on our show, small that it is now, but hey, we'll always grow,
Please let us know.
Please let us know.
We'll
We'll be happy to do that and to give full a tribute to your deck, your creation. And
also, just in case there are any copyright issues associated with the use of this deck, it is a U.S. Games produced deck.
This is a particularly old tarot deck that I owned. I probably have owned it for over 40 years. I've been reading tarot cards since 1972, so that's about 46, 47 years. Am I just shuffling again?
Yes.
Alrighty.
Focus on the retrograde. Sunny apparently wants to knock down my Mercury retrograde statue and particularly likes Oberon's yarn box that holds his cards. We'll move that over there for safety's sake.
It's special. Okay, and I'm done. Do you want me to cut those now?
You may. And I will pick them up. I'm going to lay down 4 cards, just face down. We will show you the cards. Okay, the first card is going to relate to how the retrograde will impact love and personal relationships. And the card is
the reversed Knight
of
of
Wands. So, well, I would be very cautious in how you speak to one another and communicate to your friends, your family, your significant other in this retrograde period, because communications could be considered maybe a bit aggressive and harsh. Watch your tone. Be careful how you come off to other people.
Now, because Mercury is about retrograde is about the possibility of miscommunications, the Knight of Wands, reversed or upright, really is the figure of a more friendly type person than maybe romantic, and a person of trust, or possibly somebody who spoils that trust. So my thought here is that if any of us are having relationships that look like they're moving from the friend zone to something more deeper, be careful and study that, because maybe you might be assuming that interest is something beyond friendly, but maybe it isn't. Or maybe there is a deception going on with that person, like maybe they just haven't been able to figure out how to tell you they just want to be friends.
Very good. The second card is going to relate to your work and career concerns, business concerns.
And that is the upright 6 of Wands.
The 6 of Wands upright. Wow. Well, if I was to read this, I would say that everything seems pretty good as far as work matters go.
The 6 of Wands is the card of a victory or of accomplishment or of being recognized as being maybe the leader or the person in the forefront of that. The image is people with laurel wreaths on wands and somebody who seems to be highlighted amidst the background crowd there. So this could be saying that there's something good coming in store, despite the retrograde, that maybe there is somebody who is noticing you for your accomplishments, or maybe somebody who is thinking you are ready to take on more. Perhaps that's the trap of Mercury retrograde. Maybe you're really content and you don't want to be asked to do more. But it's a matter of opinion, I suppose.
Maybe the other thing is that, another possibility I'm thinking of here is that maybe the card is indicating the person has not been exposed for all of their good qualities and potentials and the good that they have done for the company. Maybe this is something that's going to be an issue during this retrograde, is how can you be recognized for everything that you've done.
That's a really good point. I like that too, very much, yes. It could be talking about the fact that during the retrograde, you're not being seen that way. And so this is the issue of the retrograde, is of somehow coming out and revealing or having those perceptions changed or be seen by a greater audience, the ones who count.
Indeed. The third card is money and financial concerns and matters. And it's the Page of Cups upright. Wow. Well, I'm going to let you lead with that one.
Okay. At a younger point in my evolution, when I considered myself still a young person, the Page of Cups was a card that I heavily identified with it, and I used it as my significator, which will be a topic we will be talking about at future points during our show. But for this reading here, What position is this again?
This is with finance and money, financial
This could be
matters.
saying that the Mercury retrograde probably says you're not really looking realistically at those matters, because the card is more or less the card of a poetic and dreamy kind of youth, like I thought I was way back when. But at any rate, it may be saying that your view of monetary matters is not really specific to that cause, that maybe it's a personality or a feeling right now that money is not as important, but the art is important, the vision of what you're doing, that poetic nature. I don't know. Am I grasping at straws here? What do you think?
No. But when I look at this card in this position and with the retrograde, I'm thinking that maybe your pie in the sky dreams and of how to make money or invest in something. Maybe this is not the time to bring them to fruition. However, maybe this is the time to dream big, to really imagine where your where your investments could take you, or where maybe a new financial scheme, way to make money, increase your income, some ideas in that regard. Maybe it's time to plan and set some of those dreams in motion. Maybe this is a time to brainstorm, but it's not so much a time to actually do it.
I like that one too, and because Mercury retrogrades itself provide for the idea of a delay or a length of time getting an answer or seeing things through, that fits in perfectly with the idea that maybe it's really time to focus somewhere else, just on the creative aspects, and not worry as much about how many dollars you're going to be making or what your business contact list is going to look like. It's going to happen.
The Page of Cups is kind of, I would think you would agree with me, a dreamer,
That's right.
So that's why I kind of went there. That's my impression, at least for the retrograde. And finally, this last card is relating to your health and well-being in this time period. And it is the Seven of Pentacles reversed. An interesting card in this position. Not one I would take lightly.
Well, a lot of times when the card is upright, it's talking about somebody who's just kind of checking it out, and they're not really active. They're sort of contemplating their next move possibly, or they're just enjoying where they've gotten to so far. But when it's reversed, it may be saying this is time to move ahead with something. And if we're talking about our health, this may be saying that any of us out there who have been having some health concerns, that maybe we're like thinking, oh, it's not that important, but maybe possibly deeper inside, you're just sort of putting it off. So if there are health decisions or concerns you need to check out, now really may be the time to do that. You don't have to line up your surgery or whatever for the Mercury retrograde, but maybe this is that time to look at that and decide that there is an action you do need to take for your health.
I think I would echo that completely. I would also say that it is time to maybe make some inquiries, maybe do some research, but especially if you have a doctor or some specialist's advice. I'm not going to say it's a time to get a second opinion, but it is a time to do some research and make sure this is the proper course for you to take. I wouldn't hesitate on this, though, if you definitely have a health concern. And by the way, we are not doctors here. We are just, giving you some advice. You should always seek out a medical practitioner's advice if you have something seriously going on.
The other thing, too, is that we may not be medical practitioners, but we are more into physical fitness than some other folks we know. A lot of people we know, actually. And when you think about the Seven of Pentacles sort of indicating activity or inactivity or the need to move, but right now maybe it's saying if you have been thinking about moving into some physical fitness activities, you might want to look at that slowly or look at that over time. There's no need to rush into that necessarily unless, your doctor says, hey, you need to get on the treadmill now. But the idea of physical activity maybe being considered and creating your plan or making that move to do what you can for yourself. even just walking around the block or a few minutes every day could help somebody out a lot. So it's at your own rate.
Sure. Well, that's all for our reading for today, but I think I will close with something I created a long time ago that you may find useful during this difficult time of the Mercury retrograde.
We don't have a beat for it, so you'll have to imagine that there's a beat going on here.
I created something I like to call the Mercury retrograde rant, and it goes a little something like this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Well, you don't have to say it with me. Okay. I am one. I have the power to pool my strength in this hour. Face these days without dread. Negative thoughts are left unsaid. It is now plain to see I must work with this energy. So I am not at all afraid of this Mercury retrograde. Good luck to you, and don't forget, tune us in on August 4th.
Bye.